Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So a little while back when I did my video on Meesha Lou Cosmetics, their Witchcraft palette, I mentioned that I really wanted to pick up their Fawn palette. So I did. I actually ended up picking both of their other palettes. I got Fawn and Queen Bee. This video will be about the Fawn palette. So I wanted to go ahead and get this mostly because it was such a beautiful like neutral palette and I could really see this being a good everyday go-to for me. And seeing them in person, I'm really happy that I bought it because it's just beautiful. So the reason I bought both palettes is because if you follow Meesha Lou on Instagram, they are constantly putting out sales. So the reason I bought both palettes is because at the time, they had them for 40% off. So right now I believe they've got the palettes 20% off, which is still a great deal. They retail for 32 euros, which I believe is like 36 USD. But like I said, they've got them on sale. So it's about $8 off, I think, or something like that on their website right now. If you want to pick up either one of them, I'll show you just for the sake of showing you. This is the Queen Bee palette. So it's more of the warmer toned palette. And then the Fawn is this beautiful neutral palette with some gorgeous pops of shimmer in it. So what I thought would be fun, I originally wasn't going to do two looks, one palette because as much as I like doing them, they do take a lot of time to put on and film. But I figured it would be a fun thing since this is such a neutral based palette to do like a day to night look. The kind where if you've already gotten your makeup on, maybe you can kind of like amp up that makeup and then go out like for happy hour or go out on a date night after you've been out all day or something like that. So this is the day look. You'll see this one first and then I will kick it up a notch and do something a little bit more amped up for the night look. So I'll have both of those looks in this video. I just kind of forgot to film an intro before I started playing around with the eyeshadow palette, so you get a sneak preview of the daytime look. And here are all the shadows. So this first one is Natural Being. You're probably not really able to see it very much because it really blends in with my skin tone because it's so light. This one is Falling Leaves, Chestnut, Acorn, Cocoa Mud, Sparkle Bark, Yummy Mushroom, Water Reflex, Nocturnal Night, Woodland Sunset, Wood Moth, and Innocence. So I will say that when I was swatching this, I was kind of wondering if I had gotten like a repeat shade because these two, I was like, wait, this is the same color again. Once I layered it up though, I could see that they are slightly different. This one is more of your cool toned dark brown and this one's got a bit more of a warmth to it. I do think they could have made it a bit more of a significant difference though, because otherwise they really do look very much the same. And then this one really surprised me because it looks white in the pan, but it's got like this really pink shift to it. I think it's a bit odd with this mixture of color. I kind of think it should have maybe been a white with a gold shift just to kind of blend in a bit better, but it's still pretty and I will be using it in my inner corner. This by far is my favorite color. I want to put it all over my lid. It just looks like it's wet. I mean, Water Reflex is the perfect name for it. This is just beautiful. So let's get into the eye look. I'm starting out with the shade Natural Being on a fluffy brush, and I'm just using this to set down my primer and just really act as a nice base. Then dipping into Falling Leaves with a more tapered blending brush, I'm running this through the crease and a little bit up onto the brow bone. Next is the shade Chestnut. This is actually a lot more of a pigmented color than I expected, so what I'm doing is just depositing the color very light-handedly, and then as there's less and less product on my brush, I'm blending it further out so that it kind of has this lovely blurred out look. Then into the shade Wood Moth, I'm adding this with a very detailed brush right into the socket portion of the crease. It just adds a little bit more of a warmth to the look and some more definition. And then I'm adding a bit more of that color to the outer corner. Next up is Woodland Sunset, and since this is a casual daytime look, I'm using my finger just to blend that color onto the eye and kind of softly blend it into the brown tones. And then I'm dipping back into Chestnut just very lightly to make sure it kind of looks evenly blended together. Then back into Woodland Sunset just to put a little bit of that on the inner corner. I'm not blowing this part out too much as, I usually do with my inner corner highlights. And then I'm taking the tiniest touch of Water Reflex right over the top just because it really makes it brighter. Then into Yummy Mushroom on a flat liner brush, and I'm lining just the outer half of the lower lash line with this color. And then for the inner half, I'm using Chestnut and kind of blending them together in the middle. And then I decided to go over the Chestnut portion with Woodland Sunset. Then into Cocoa Mud, I'm using this just to add a tiny little bit of definition to that upper lash line just on the outer portion. Now I'm putting a brown liner in my waterline. This is Mr. Being from ColourPop. and then adding mascara to the top and bottom lashes. I did do 2 really good coats on the top. For lips, I decided to use one of the lip glosses from the Blackheart Beauty Astrology collection. This one is the shade Cancer. It's just a lovely pink lip gloss. And this is the completed daytime look. To transition this look to night, I'm taking a dry cotton round and just kind of rubbing off a little bit of that shimmer shade that's on the lid, just for an easier application. Then I'm dipping into chestnut with that blending brush and just really blowing out that crease shade and making it a lot more intense. Next up, I dipped into Acorn just to add a little bit more of a cool tone into the crease. And then into Cocoa Mud, I'm using a flat, slightly fluffy brush just to pack this on the lid on the inner and outer portion, and then join the two in the center. By using these patting motions, it helps avoid any kind of fallout. Then switching to a tiny blending brush, I'm just blending that darker shade up into the chestnut color to make it nice and gradient. And then I decided to go ahead and intensify that outer portion a little bit more. Next up is my favorite color in the palette, which is Water Reflex. I'm just using my finger just to put this color right into the center of the lid and kind of blend it out. This shade is amazing. Then into Nocturnal Night, I'm using a flat angled brush that I did wet, and I'm lining the entire lower lash line with this. And then back into Cocoa Mud with a detail brush. I'm just smudging this all underneath that Nocturnal Night shade to really make sure that it matches the top. And then back into Water Reflex, I'm using this on the inner corner, and I am dragging it up a good bit as well as under to the lower lash line. To finish off this look, I'm using a black pencil just to add some nice dark black into the waterline, both on the top and bottom. And then of course I'm adding a black wing. I'm just using my Kat Von D Trooper liner for this one because I wanted a nice sharp line at the end, and then a pair of lashes. For lips on this one, I'm just going with the Fenty Gloss Bomb because I figured something really glossy but still neutral would be perfect. And this is the nighttime look. Alright guys, so this is the finished second look, a little bit more of a amped up nighttime look. I'm really happy that this worked out perfectly like this, to where I could do kind of like a day to nighttime look. I mean, honestly, I'm really happy I didn't have to completely remove the look first, because that's what seems to make my eye freak out when I try to remove one set of makeup and do another look right after it. So this worked out perfectly for me, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it too. I don't usually do a softer, light, natural looking look, so this is kind of a fun way for you guys to see something, especially with a beautiful palette like this. And I feel like using this color right here kind of still made it soft and natural, but still with a little something to it, because that shade isn't really gold, isn't really peach, it just has a gorgeous little subtle shift. So it's kind of like wearing a natural look with just a little spice to it. So, and then of course this little center color, Water Reflex, amazing, absolutely amazing. So I did want to mention, if you watched my review of the Meesha Lou Witchcraft palette, some of the mattes seemed a bit more on the sheer side. Now I'm not sure if they've been reformulated. I want to say that they have been, but I do know that this palette was incredibly pigmented. Even like this chestnut color right here, when I wanted to go into the crease with that, I was expecting it to be a softer, lighter color, especially since it's up there next to the lighter colors, and it was not. I had to be very light-handed to kind of get the look that I wanted, where it's like a sheared out kind of wash in the crease and then build it up. So that's really good. If they did reformulate the palette, I think they did a great job and it looks great now. I still liked the way the other one worked. I think some people just don't like a sheer shadow and having to build it up, but I don't mind. But in case you were curious, this one is super pigmented and not in any way sheer. I'm really happy with this one. I definitely recommend it if you're into more of a natural look, and you can see how you can do something really soft and natural, but you can also really, really amp it up and make it intense. I do still kind of think that these two shades are unnecessary. I think maybe this could have been a bit more cooler toned, or this could have been a bit more warm toned, because I really think that you're not noticing much of a difference. So even like with these two, where they look kind of similar, this one has a bit more of a red tone to it and this one has a bit more of an orange tone, and you can actually tell that when you're using a brush and blending it. I just really didn't see much of a difference with these two. I think when I was packing it on the lid the first time, I think I accidentally dipped into this one instead of this one, and I don't think I really even noticed the difference. So in the swatch on my arm, it was just very subtly different. So I really think they should have made it a bit more different, but made one a bit warmer, made one a bit cooler. But other than that, that's probably the only complaint I have about the palette, and it's not really that big of a complaint because they're still perfectly good shadows. So Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you liked the fact that I did kind of like a day to nighttime look, kind of give you a little bit of an option. But yeah, if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and thank you guys for watching. Bye.